Good afternoon, viewers and listeners here in USA and those who are in India. It's a late evening. There is a serious issue going on with the Hindu, I would say Hindu phobia rather than Hinduism. But right now there is an issue going on in Bangladesh for the ISKCON temple. The priest has been already behind the bars and they tried to get the bail and bail was denied. Again, somebody, most probably the Bangladesh government, I don't know the perfect name, who got the PIL to just declare ISKCON as a terrorist organization. Ultimately, it's not about the ISKCON, it's about the Hindus, those who are living in Bangladesh. And for that, we have a CHONA team with us, Pushpita Prasad and Rana ji. Rana ji is from Bangladesh itself, and he is a Hindu, and he is a volunteering for Kona as well. And we will have a brief discussion of half an hour what is going on in Bangladesh with the Hindu, and we will go with little bit of history as well. So, welcome to the show, Pushpita ji. Namaste.
Namaste.
Rana ji, namaste.
Namaskar.
Can you just give us the brief, Pushpita ji, what is happening and why it started and from where it started?
Yes, thank you for looking into this very, very sad issue, Mananji. So, obviously, we have 30 minutes, so I'm not going to go into a lot of history because we could do a 5-week-long seminar. But as everybody knows, India was partitioned in 1947 and two countries were created with East Pakistan, West Pakistan, and India. Now, and then we had the 1971 genocide, which led to the creation of the independent country of Bangladesh. In between this time period, from 1951 to today, I just want people to remember one thing. The violence against Hindus never stopped. Whatever government was in power, whether it was the Pakistan army, whether it was some kind of elected Pakistani government, whether it was some kind of Bangladeshi government, the army, Bangladeshi army. And one figure says it all, because it's hard to remember, so much has happened. And in 1951, after the creation of East Pakistan, the census report showed Hindus in East Pakistan were 22% of the population. 22%. Today, it's about 7%. Think about that. In just a few decades, the world has seen a genocide play out and nobody has bothered to report it and nobody has bothered to track it or mourn it or try to stop it. That's an enormous drop in numbers. And, it started when the country was East Pakistan. Obviously, the 1971 genocide was primarily a genocide of Bengali Hindus, even though in popular culture and history it has been presented as a language issue. We know that it was religiously motivated, and we know that US State Department reports and liberal icons like Senator Ted Kennedy told us all of that. So before anybody discounts this as Indian or Hindutva sources, I just want to make sure that people look at history and go back and look at US State Department reports, read a book called The Blood Telegram. These are all Western sources documenting what a religiously motivated pogrom it was. Anyways, lots more happened after the country became independent. And unfortunately, the persecution of Hindus continued, which is why you see the drop even from 18% after the country became independent, 7% today. Now, let's flash forward to today. And as many people might be knowing, in August, so in July, August, there was a lot of turmoil going on in Bangladesh for various political reasons, which we won't go into. But as always, the political violence became an excuse to target the Hindu minorities. And after the change in government or the fall of the Sheikh Hasina government, I think the atrocities really escalated. Our social media feeds, the newspapers, they've reported everything. And Kona itself got very deeply involved in starting in August, actually thanks to the reach out from our members like Rana, who were so perturbed at what was going on. And since then, as an organization, partnering with other Hindu organizations in the US and Canada, we have sent about 175,000 emails to our lawmakers in the US and Canada. We have organized or helped organize with other community organizations rallies, protests, sit-ins for Bangladesh Hindus in about 20 different cities. We have had many public and private meetings with lawmakers trying to educate them on what is going on and urging them to take action. Now, unfortunately, in the last 2 weeks, the situation has once again escalated. The violence was kind of just ebbing and flowing, but it really escalated. And you might have seen the headlines now with the government of Bangladesh threatening to ban a global organization like ISKCON and having arrested a very senior Hindu spiritual figure. And again, there's the world outrage. Nobody seems to really care. He was arrested, presented in court, denied bail, and that's where we are right now. And I would turn it over to Rana at this point because he has family in the country and is very personally connected with all of this.
Rana ji, namaskar.
Namaskar. Yeah.
Yeah. Just a brief question. When Pushpita ji was just giving the background of the history, I would talk in the recent time that do you think that we just took it very lightly after Sheikh Hasina's thing happened, right? And escalation happened, this, that. After a while, everybody, I would blame each and every Hindu on a globe that they just forgot that what has happened. We took it very lightly, and again, due to that, it escalated again.
There are multiple factors at work here. Obviously, I would start with looking into my own house. Obviously, Bangladesh atrocities against Hindus is nothing new. In 2001, when Awami League lost election and the BNP, Bangladesh Nationalist Party, and Jamaat Islami alliance came into power, there was like 15 days or 18 days long a period of widespread violence, atrocities, targeting women and children, political opponents, dissidents, specifically Hindus. There is an amnesty report. I would encourage your viewers to look into it. It has a very detailed report. So even when Sheikh Hasina came into power in 2009, the violence and atrocities against Hindus did not stop. It happened like consecutive manner: 2012, 2016 Nasinagar violence, and 2018, 2021 widespread violence in Durga Puja, where the Bangladesh saw something like never happened until recently, 2024. So it has a continuous pattern of atrocities, be it political, social, or whatsoever. As long as the Bangladesh radicalized, the atrocities piled up on Hindus. So I would say that we already have a history. So we should have been much more proactive when the instabilities was going on for global Hindus, like to protect the minority community in Bangladesh. But also, I would also would shift the blame a little bit to the global international community. And this is what exactly Christine Fair, professor of Georgetown University, blamed. Like the global international community in a paper, she mentioned like the global international community did not take attention or did not pay heed what's happening to Bangladesh minorities, specifically Hindus and indigenous community in Chittagong Hill Tracts. There is also a book by Richard Benking, who literally wrote the book as like Quiet Case of Ethnic Cleansing, because the ethnic cleansing of Hindus in Bangladesh completely went unnoticed to the larger global community. Part of it, obviously, to blame us. Part of it's also world community scholars for not working on it, for not safeguarding the minority rights. So it's kind of a bit of both sections.
What should be done now?
Obviously, we should do everything we can because the situation is very dire right now on the ground. Even this morning, I woke up and saw that 4 temples were attacked in my hometown in Patharghata. Today, after Friday prayer, a mob just broke into Hindu neighborhoods and just start widespread attacking and all. So we need to raise these issues in various world congress, in various world bodies like American leadership has always played a key role in safeguarding minority rights from 1971 and many other cases. We must hold the current interim government accountable for the violations of human rights that's happening ongoing in Bangladesh. Because in various spaces, Dr. Muhammad Yunus, who is kind of at the helm of the government, said that the violences are not communal, they are rather political. And the violences are exaggerated, mostly from Indian media, and always there is a uh, painted a devil on the wall of Hindutva, but the violences never stopped and it kept happening. So if the violences are merely political, why the temples and shrines are being attacked? Why, like, literally no madrasa or mosque belonging from the opponent political faction was intact and they never touched upon? And if it's exaggerated, like why there's 2010 attacks in the first 16 days since August 5. So it is not exaggerated. It is not political. It's entirely communal, which has been, like I gave you, like many years of violence, even though it doesn't matter which party in the power, but Hindus are always in the political quagmire, social quagmire, unrest, and all those. We pay the heavy price.
Yeah.
So I am very hopeful that American, European, and Western leadership, and also Indian leadership, has taken attention to this. And I will hope that they will keep up the pressure on interim government to hold on to the democratic values and rights of the minorities and citizens. And already they have started doing it because the violences keep piling on, and they are getting noticed. So I think Yunus government should take that into account.
Do you think Yunus government will continue with this?
Uh, so Dr. Mohammad Yunus, when he took power on August 8th, we were very hopeful that he's the global person and he is a very secular person. He's a Nobel laureate, probably the best person to take charge of a chaotic country. But uh, utter dismay was when he took oath. So Bangladesh has a history when the government official takes oath, they take oath on all four religious sacred scriptures. But this
Mm.
year, when he took power, he took oath only on Muslim or Quran. There was no other religious. So though the political unrest or political movement started with anti-discrimination of Sheikh Hasina government, but the interim government started their job through a discriminatory procedure. And I believe Dr. Muhammad Yunus is completely somewhat influenced by the radical factions of the political parties and society, like Jamaat Islam, Hefazat Islam, and others. And we were hopeful, but slowly, as violences kept happening and some of the actions by Yunus government really dismayed us a lot because a lot of outright terrorists who were involved with like Al Qaeda affiliated groups were released from the jail. And very surprisingly, as Pushpita ji mentioned, like the Chinmoy Krishna Das Prabhu, who was leading at the forefront of like the civil right movement, if you say, of Hindus for equality and 8-point demand. He was charged with sedition law under something very sham, like disrespecting the national flag, while he was not even present at that time, at that the place of where it happened. So he is right now in jail for 10 days. We do not know what's going to happen to him, but he was arrested 25 days later. And the person who accused him or filed the charge were dismissed from the Bangladesh Nationalist Party. He was a member of Bangladesh Nationalist Party. So this is completely on Yunus government's hand. Like they deliberately framed it or charged him the way it should happen. But I mean, obviously, Yunus government is to take the blame. I don't know where he will go from here, but right now, I don't think he has very much control of what's happening in the country.
Yesterday, I think yesterday or day before yesterday, there was a news that the attorney who was leading his case was also been beaten to that. Is it true?
So that's based on the information I have. That's not true. I saw that was reported in Reuters, but that's not true because the attorney was not representing him. The attorney was killed some away from the court case places where all the violences were happening. There are CCTV footage, and Dr. Mohammed Yunus just posted like they arrested 6 people, uh, or 6 or 7 people connection to the murder of the attorney, but he was not representing Chinmoy Krishnadas. And there are also some speculations happening, like uh, some of the Hindu lawyers or lawyers association who were willing to represent Mr. Das to the court, they are being harassed or threatened. So we do not know what is going to happen to him. But if anything happens to Chinmoy Krishnadas, obviously the situation, which is already worse, will take an ugly turn in a few days. So it's very much concerning situation right on the ground.
Since you were talking about the Western countries to intervene, we know the situation. They are tied up with the war situation, right? Israel and Hamas and stuff are going on. I don't think they will be getting much more involved in Bangladesh issue. If they are not involving, what is the next that you think that somebody should initiate and get it done? Do
So
you
first of all,
will help you out?
yeah. So first of all, by intervention, I meant like I saw that the Indian ambassador met various political leaders from minority communities in Kashmir and Hyderabad, Asaduddin Owaisi. That did not happen in Bangladesh. No world leader or world ambassador or dignitaries met with Hindu leaders, or this Hindu group called, they are leading the 3-month long protests all over the country. And they were large scale protests. I mean, this kind of protest we have never seen in my 33 years of life. Like Chinmoy Krishnadas, to give him credit, like he united around 20 million Hindus across Bangladesh. Like there is a saying like Hindus are divided in many factions, but he, to give him credit, he gave us voice. Like he highlighted the atrocities happening. I did not see any European Union dignitary, any German ambassador, or any British ambassador, or any US ambassador met with the Hindu leaders, assured them to talk to the government about their 8-point demands. Meeting their demands is a separate thing, but at least assuring them that they will consider their demands would go a long way. And this will send a message to Yunus government, like the world leaders strongly support the minority development and the issues minorities face in the country. And it's the moral and it's the most dignified imperative to do so. So I think the world leaders, they haven't done so far, and we are already facing the brunt of the violence and atrocities towards us. So they should take this thing into account and start interacting with Hindu leaders on ground in Bangladesh to raise concern from people to people connection, highlight their plight, uh, raise their issues in due platforms in United Nations, in US House Congress, and in UK Parliament. So yesterday, UK Parliament did something amazing. Like they raised the issue of rising extremism in a Commonwealth multi-party body. And also I saw Bob Blackman, he's an MP from United Kingdom. So they started raising the issues. And I think this momentum should carry on. And we should keep the voices, because we do not get the voices or the attention we need to raise our demands. I think that should happen more often from now on.
Pushpita ji, what would
Yes.
you talk about on these kind of issues? What is your view? What should be done?
I think we have to stop waiting for someone to do something. We are all, Gita tells us to, we are only entitled to do karam, not to the phal of the karam. I think we are all very hung up in where the result of what we do, but we are so, each of us needs to make sure we are speaking for this very, very persecuted minority, whether it's to our lawmakers, whether it's to our neighbors, nobody knows this is going on. This is a serious human rights issue. There are people literally, being beaten, killed, properties are being burned. Religious freedom is under deep, deep, deep attack. And we just go about our lives as though nothing is happening. And that's a problem, right? We cannot wait for X, Y, and Z to do something. We need, in a democracy, we need to take action. Our lawmakers are going to give it as much importance as we give it. Right. I know we're a small mic group in the US as well. So it's not like, we speak up, but how many of us have made even the first effort? I've talked to many lawmakers, and for many of them, they just don't hear from Hindus enough, right? And when they hear from Hindus, they don't hear about these issues at all. So we need to make sure we keep up persistent pressure. It's not just the lawmakers, right? There are think tanks, there are institutions, there are media. A lot of them are right now playing the role of actually suppressing or whitewashing the horrors that are going on, right? So this is a political, this is an India game. So like Rana mentioned, right now, unfortunately, the violence is horrific, and even one death is too many. So seems like in the last week, there was one innocent lawyer that got killed, which is terrible, right? Now, and this we saw in August 4th also. So when in such a traumatic situation, there are going to be news that gets reported wrong. In this case, Reuters got it wrong and then issued a correction. This is normal in a breaking, in a kind of such a turmoil situation. But what we see is institutions are using these kind of small missteps to target the whole movement and say, look, one news article was wrong, therefore everything that you hear is wrong. And that is something we can all fight against, but I think we should also all play a judicious role in making sure that we don't fall for misinformation as well. So right now there is this attempt to say, this is India propaganda or misinformation. Just like in 1971, there was an attempt to say this was a language issue, not religion issue. And everyone who talks about this being political, I just, like Rana said, right, there have been so many incidents under the Awami League party when Hindus were targeted, including right in 2021, not so long ago. 2021, Navratri season, scores of puja pandals and mandirs, including an ISKCON mandir again, were attacked. And what was the reason? Actually, it was pure misinformation then, because there was one person, an Islamist, who took a Quran and went into a Durga Puja pandal and put the Quran in Hanuman, near a Hanuman Murti. He took a picture of that and posted it on Facebook. And that outrage led to weeks and weeks of attacks on Hindus. Later on, CCTV showed that man himself putting the Quran. No Hindu had put it there. No puja pandal organizer had been so stupid as to put it there. Hindus don't do that. We don't disrespect other religions. So somebody goes in there and literally puts a small community under threat. And again, the media was just full. So if you want to talk about misinformation, let's talk about that misinformation. And it happened when Awami League was ruling, right? So it's very easy to demolish this narrative of this being a political issue, this being an anti-Awami League issue. As Rana said, why are only temples attacked, right? Because even if all Hindus were supporting Awami League, they are only 7%. Awami League couldn't have been ruling on the basis of Hindu votes alone. So where are the attacks on the basis of the majority?
Just to add a point, Pushpita ji, there out of 70 Islamist political parties in Bangladesh, 63 of them were in direct alliance with Sheikh Hasina's party. That's 90% of Islamist party in Bangladesh involved with Sheikh Hasina's party alliance. But you did not see any mosque being attacked because this 90% of political parties being involved with direct alliance with Awami League. And Sheikh Hasina herself was given mother of the community, a Qawmi Janani, by the radical Islamist group for allowing or accrediting the madrasa education. So she also established 500 model mosque and madrasas all over the country. So even though she was in power, she is one who to blame for emboldening or radicalizing or giving space to the radical factions of the society. But for that reason, none of the 500 mosques and madrasas were attacked.
And
This
nor
is
should
entirely
they.
political.
We're just to make it clear, we are not saying any place of worship should be attacked. We are just raising it as a very clear double standard, so that people don't fall for the propaganda that is being pushed. Because there is no excuse that would justify attacking a place of worship. And that is what everyone, so people should not buy into reasons of, oh well, the temple got burned down because of this. See, I think the ISKCON targeting shows that nobody is safe, right? Everybody has been, I mean, almost everybody has gone to an ISKCON temple. The most we can, and ISKCON predates the creation of Bangladesh. ISKCON was created in the 60s. Bangladesh was born in the 70s. Yet today, Bangladesh is targeting ISKCON as a terrorist organization. So I think the targeting of ISKCON shows that any Hindu who speaks up is going to become a target. So for Hindus who feel that they can lie low and get away with it, I think these are wake up calls, because ISKCON is known for nothing other than singing bhajan kirtans, doing seva. How much seva they have done in Bangladesh over the decades that Bangladesh has existed, and even after the August 4th, takeover, the turmoil, when Bangladesh faced floods, as always, they were there distributing relief, irrespective of religion. So I think again, this is a wake up call that you cannot appease extremists. The more you appease them, the more emboldened they become. And so we all, in our relatively safe spaces, need to make sure that we speak for the people who don't know, who can't sleep in the night because they don't know if they'll wake up in the morning in the same situation.
Since you both are in rush and we are already about to end this, what are your last words? What should be done and what we are focusing on now?
I would just say, please get involved. Go to our website. We are still running a campaign for asking lawmakers to help Bangladesh Hindus. And again, the elections are over now. I know when this turmoil started, it was not the best time to be reaching out to lawmakers, because everyone was caught up in their elections winning, and so now the elections are over. The new session is going to be starting. This is a very, very important time to be reaching out to your lawmakers, irrespective of party. This is not a party issue. This is not a partisan issue. Helping human rights is a bipartisan issue. Make sure you connect with all people in your lawmakers, whether it's state, congressional, or even city. Raise awareness of what's going on, because there is so much misinformation being spread that these voices, they have nobody to speak for them. So we need to speak for them.
Rana ji?
I would say my family is still in Bangladesh. My friends are still in Bangladesh. All my relatives are in Bangladesh. So I would say I will plead to the world, global bodies and international audience to get involved with Bangladeshi Hindus. Listen to them, help them any way if you can. Several NGOs work with them, HRCBM and Minority Rights Commission and all those. Empower those institutions, talk to the Hindu leaderships in the country, and also in several American or international organizations fund research and scholarships on what is happening to Hindus, document properly so that these things never happen. The proper documentations get involved, like Pushpita ji mentioned, become active and support so that the minority Hindus and also indigenous people who are also victim, Buddhists and Christians, all of them, and even moderate Muslims, they are also victim of this radicalization of Bangladesh. Bangladesh has a long history of Bengali culture heritage. Even the Durga Puja is also UNESCO World Heritage. And Durga Puja sees the widespread violence. So it's unbelievable that these things are happening. It's time world take attention what's happening to Bangladesh, because as Martin Luther King mentioned, like injustice anywhere is threat to justice everywhere. So we need to take these things into account and empower Hindus and other communities in Bangladesh so that they can pursue life, liberty, and happiness and live freely.
Pushpita ji, one last question for you. Do you think that being an Hindu, we are too much soft spoken, we don't stand up, we don't raise our voice at any of these issues, and that is causing more issues with us.
That's another one we can spend a long time discussing. But I think we all need to think about our history, our culture. We are the inheritors of a very, very ancient indigenous civilization. And this is not the first time we are being attacked, and we need to realize that, okay, I'll give a different analogy. When you're a parent and you have a child who gets bullied at school for whatever reason, right, lunchtime bully as we call them, we most of us will tell our child to stand up to the bully. We know fundamentally that a bully cannot be appeased, right? It's not pleasant to stand up to the bully. Our natural instinct is to run away from the bully and hope that the bully will leave us. But I think, when you tell your child to stand up to the bully, because you know that that's not a long term solution. And I think we need to take that parenting advice to ourselves and realize that, we can run away from a bully. So it's not fun. It's much more nice to go watch a movie, hang out with friends, go enjoy some Bollywood, some good food, go for a satsang. Those are nicer things to do. But you don't do that at the cost of giving into a bully. And this is not to target any religion, but there are extremists in every religion, and we are not standing up to the extremists who are targeting us. It's very important to do that, because ultimately that is what, each of us are responsible for our karma and what we leave behind in the world that we live in.
Thank you so much. This is my fourth interview in this week on the Bangladesh. Since 3 days continuously, we are taking two or three interviews. This is the first time we got the facts, and Ranaji, as and when he is locally from Bangladesh, his family, friends are there, he is in day-to-day contact. I am sure there was too much to discuss, and we need to know the facts from Bangladesh as and when he has the facts of each and every hour he is in touch with Bangladesh. I would request Ranaji to come again next week or after 2-3 days, and we will get some more details and the facts from him. We are not discussing anything that is causing any issues with Islam or Hinduism, but the current situation is, I would definitely say that Hindus are in problem, period, and nobody is taking care of it. Either it's a Western country, even the India tried to intervene, but they are not aggressive on that too. There were also elections going on, so everybody is in their own hodgepodge, Maharashtra election was there, before that Jharkhand was there, and nobody cared for Hinduism. But we are the people, and we are the citizens, and we are the Hindus that have to take care of it. Get up, raise your voice, and get on your feet, and just try to do as much as you can for the Hindus, for the Bangladesh. And with that, thank you so much. And next week, do tune in. CHONA team will be us with most recent facts and figures with us. These are the people, those who know exactly what is happening in Bangladesh. As in when I said this is the fourth or fifth interview on Bangladesh, but we never got this kind of facts and figures and what is the current situation there. Next week, we are going to invite them again, and we will get more details. Thank you for joining us.